Hello friends, welcome back. So in this session we will learn Spring REST client. What is Spring REST client? Suppose if our REST service wants to call to some other REST services that might be written in Spring, Java, or that might be written in Angular using Node.js or PH or any Python or any other programming language that might be written in completely different platform. They might be written on using .NET or might be running on some other server also. So in that case you might need to communicate with existing services. You might need to communicate with the existing service inside our REST service. So how we can achieve that one? That one we can achieve using Spring REST client, and Spring REST client is nothing but a REST template. That is nothing but a REST template, and REST template simply we can create using new keyword. Using a default constructor we can create a REST template, and REST template dot get for entity, post for entity, delete for entity, put for entity, we can apply the methods on top of that one. So let's see the examples. So if here is our controller, here is our REST client controller. So if you see here, if you see, this is our REST clients REST client get. This is our one get mapping. So what it is doing here, we are going to call to this service, localhost 4300 telephone directory get contact. But this will work when application is running on your embedded Tomcat, because we are configuring that port only, hard coding. But anyway, this URL we can get it from a database or from external resources. There we can configure that one. That is a different case. We are not going on that one. You can add this value in a database, and from the database you can get it first, and then you can give this URL. You can do whatever you want, but just we are here we are hard coding that URL here. And this is 4300. What it is? 4300, this is the port number. Localhost on this application is listening. Telephone directory get contacts, we have seen that one. This is another what you can say, that this is that URL get contacts, that is having an offset of offset 3 and limit is 10. Okay, so this is that one URL. So where is this URL? This URL is available under our directory contact only, So we are taking this one, this services, and this services we are calling under this REST client controller. This under this one, under this service we are calling this one. So first we will check whether we can start our server on embedded Tomcat or not. And what should be the port number for that one? The port number should be 4300. So I will just change this port number, because we will start our application in embedded Tomcat now. Okay, so this is fine. Close this one. And before, what we were doing, actually we were starting the application in external server, like that. But in that case this will not work, because our application will be listening on 8080 port number, and the context path will be Springboot REST demo. Context path will be Springboot rest demo. In that case, if you see, so it is starting our application. I think both application it is starting, that's why it's taking time. So you can remove one application, okay, but not required now. Okay, so this is starting Springboot REST. So this is calling and it is working. Yes, definitely it is working. But what we have to do, we have to start this service in embedded Tomcat. We have to start this service in embedded Tomcat. So just start run as Springboot app. So now application will be started on 4300 telephone directory. Yeah, application is started. So now this is your port number and telephone directory is the context path. Now telephone directory is context path. Yeah, this one. So now this is our URL. We have to use this URL now. We can't use this one because our Tomcat is running on embedded, sorry, our application is running on embedded Tomcat. Yes, okay, same thing you can do here also. Here also give it here 10 or 1 or whatever you wanted to give. Not found, 1 is there. Yes, okay. So same way, now what we have to do, we have to test for REST client controller. Now what REST client controller is doing, this is just a get request, get mapping only. So get mapping directly we can call, and it is calling extracting response set is contact type application.json. Set of a class. So the return type is not a setup. So what it is, the return type for that one? Contact all limit. Yeah, set of directory contact DTO only. Exception is error while extracting response of type java.inter contact type application.json. Okay, fine. You can do one thing. In that case, it is considering as JSON. So give it here string. Okay, whatever it will be inside body, same it will be returning. You can collect as in form of string. Express warning you can remove, or exact type you will get exact type also. Okay, so in this time you have to stop and you have to start again, or else you have to spring dev tool, you have to, the dependency you have to include in your Spring Boot demo, then in your Spring Boot application, then only it will be automatically refresh. Okay, so now if you send this request, sorry, what is happening? Quickly is this one, yes, it is getting. it is getting that response. You can see how many records, 10 records. The values for these 10 records are here. Okay, like that you can get response type is plain text. Another one is REST client post. This is again a post mapping. For post mapping, how can you do? Here if you see, we have in case of get for entity, what is the structure here? First we are creating a REST template, then we are one URL we are declaring, and on top of REST template we are calling get for entity. Get for entity we are passing URL and the response type string dot class, or exact type of you can give, that is also not an issue. Okay, and in case of REST client post, if you see, so what we are doing here, we are creating a REST template we are creating, and in REST template what we are doing, REST template post for entity, because this is a post request, so we are calling here post for entity, or post for entity, delete for entity is there, delete, this is the URL for delete, and for put also URL and request URL values. So you can use and get for entity, post for entity, put, delete, all you can use post for entity, so many flavors are there, get for entity, again so many flavors are there. Okay, so you can use any of the method, but we are using only here get and post. So in get you will see what we are doing. First we are passing URL, so this is our URL. This URL is to add add the new contact. Which contact you have to add? You have to add this contact. We have to create a directory contact DTO. This is your directory contact DTO. This contact number, name, or you give any number, any contact ID. Okay, and the return type, what is the return type for this add contact? If you see, the return type for add contact is service response, so that only we are specifying here, and whatever the status is getting we will get, and the body we will add. Simple, we are just printing, and the response entity, okay, this body we are passing. So now just try for REST client post, directory contact, yeah, it is getting the response. Directory contact added, contact type, however you want, see, or you plain text you want to give, you can give. So this is the response. You can modify this response however you want to send. Currently we are sending as it is, whatever is coming inside body we are extracting as it is sending, but we should not do like that. From the body, from the response we should get something different, and we should get, okay. So this contact is added, directory contact added, this is okay, fine. And what is that contact ID that we are sending? This is the contact ID. So if you get for this contact ID, then definitely it should get. Directory contact not found. Okay, because they are giving their own contact ID, they are not adding this same contact ID. Contact IDs should not be supplied, they are automatically generating. Okay, fine. So like that we can create Spring REST client, and we can use. Next one is versioning API endpoint. What is the meaning of versioning API endpoint? What is the meaning of versioning API endpoint? If you see here, this is add contact or get contact is one flavor. I want to give another flavor of get contact. In that case, what we can do? We have to create a separate version of endpoint. How we can achieve that one? So if the same functionality, if it should be existing and additional functionality has to be implemented, or we have to override, we can make modification in the same, or we have to maintain the existing services because that is being used in so many applications that might be used, but we want to give other functionality also with some better feature. So that is called versioning endpoint, versioning API endpoint. So API versioning a service become important when we want to create a new version of an already existing service, but at the same time we need to support earlier version as well to ensure the backward compatibility. So followings are the way to achieve versioning: URI versioning, custom header versioning, accept header versioning, and request param versioning. These four are the approaches that we can use for URL endpoint versioning. Okay, so first one is URI versioning. What is URI versioning? That is just simple versioning, like you just have to give a new version in the form of this: v1 get info, v2 get info. v1 means version 1 get info, v2 get info. So you can explicitly call these one. Now if you see, we have created a controller where we will demonstrate the versioning API demo controller. We will demonstrate this one. So here you can see clearly, this is the example of URI versioning. So here if you see this URI versioning, we have given two different URLs for get info and endpoint. We have given two different endpoint for get info service. Get info service has a two flavor, v1 and v2. So how will you call this v1 and v2? Very simple. Through this one also you can call if you want to call, or you wanted to call in Postman you can call, because that is get only. So API version 1. Why? Because of this versioning, the endpoint versioning 1. Versioning 2, it's also fine, that is also fine. So versioning 1 and versioning 2, so that is called URI versioning. URI, you will give different UI for different version. Very simple. Just give a different endpoint, just give a different URI for existing service. Like here if you see, get info is a service, URI, but for this service you want to give another version, then you can give using v2, another endpoint you can create similar to shown here. This is v2, this is v1 get info, same. Okay, next type is custom header versioning. What is custom header versioning? Custom header versioning is endpoint will be same, you can see endpoint will be same, but inside headers the value will be changed. inside header the value will be changed. Now how will you call this one? You cannot call through the browser here. This one you can call from the browser. You can see here, if you wanted to call through browser, you can call. Now this is version 2, now this is versioning 1, you can see. But this version, this custom header version, if you wanted to call get info, then you definitely have to give inside header API version 3 or 4, API version 3 or 4. So which one is that versioning? If you see, get info 5. Why it is 5? Which one it is taking? It is taking this 5th one. Why? We will see this later, but we need to call get info version of a custom header value versioning. Custom header versioning means inside header you have to pass this API version. You have to pass API version. So inside header API version is 3. API version is 3. Now send. Yeah, it is calling API version 3. Which one it is calling? It is returning API version 3. Simple, very simple. If you wanted to call API version 4, then just you need to pass in header API version. Which version you wanted to call? 4th one you wanted to call. So just give here 4. Very simple. Very simple. Or if you want to call header URI versioning, then definitely you have to use different URI, because this is a different URI, no? This V1, V2, different URI. So you can call different URI itself. But if in case of header versioning, URI name, URI path will same. URI path will same, but the value that you have to change inside header. Inside header you have to supply the value. Inside header you have to supply the value, the version of API. This key can be anything. It's not like that you have to give API version only. It's not like that. Whatever you will specify here, that will be your header key, and this will be your header value. It is not like that it should be always 3, 4. You can give anything, A, B, X, Y, Z, whatever you want, but that is called header versioning. Inside header we are passing some header value. On the basis of header value, your Spring services is detecting which services has to be called. So that is called custom header versioning. Custom header versioning, either 3 or 4. This is 4, no, it is calling 3. You can see here the response also. Okay, next one is accept header versioning. Custom header versioning, and another one is accept header versioning. Now how accept header versioning? Produce text plain app 5. You have to pass this one. So how you will call this one? Inside header accept, you have to give this value. Inside header accept, that's why it is saying accept header versioning. Inside header accept is a key that you can pass. Accept will tell what type of parameter you want to accept, like what type of data you want to accept in REST services. So that is accept header. Either that can be JSON, XML, plain text, any of them. So inside accept header you have to pass this one. So how it will be, how you will call this one? So this is again get info only. This is again URI we are not changing. Get info only. But inside inside accept, and instead of header what we are passing here, accept what, accept header plain text version 5 or plain text version 6. Now which one will be calling? 5 only. If you give accept header plain text app version 6, so where is app version 6? App version 6 is returning API version 6. App version 5 it is returning API version 5. So here it is 5. If you pass 5, it is returning app version 5. If you will pass app version 6 or any other name, you can, whatever the value you will add here, the same value you have to pass into accept header. Whatever the value that you will specify here after this dot, whatever value you will specify, you have to send that value in accept header only. So that is called accept header versioning. Custom header versioning is little bit different from accept header versioning, because in accept header versioning the key, what is the difference between accept header versioning and custom header versioning? In custom header versioning you will define the key also, key and value both you will define, but in case of accept header versioning you are not going to define the key is already predefined in HTTP protocol, that is called accept. That's why the name is accept header versioning, because the name of key accept is already defined in HTTP protocol. Okay, and inside that one HTTP value, the value, this is the accept value plain text, it is accepting plain text. Accepting means what? The response. Accept means what it is defining? The response it is defining. The response that is Spring services is returning, like string is nothing but a plain text only, no? Plain text only. So that is a plain text. So with the plain text we are appending version also. So that is accept header versioning. In custom header versioning we have to define key and value both, but in accept header versioning we just have to define the value along with the accept version type. Accept version type is plain text. After that one you can append with the dot whatever the version, app version, or you can give, it's not like that you should give always app v1, any value xyz. If you give here xyz, then definitely you have to give here also xyz. After this plain text dot you have to give xyz, or after underscore, whatever you wanted to give, along with accept header type. Okay, fine. And the third last one is request param versioning. Now you can understand what is request param. Request param, that is parameter we will pass. Request versioning is nothing, we will pass one parameter. Okay, so that is, this is request param versioning. Like this is, again we are not changing the URI. URI will be same, get info, produce. So params, inside this get mapping or post mapping, if you see inside this get mapping or post mapping, so this is your request param versioning. You can see inside our get mapping, so inside our get mapping annotations only we are passing params. Params means this parameter should be present. If this parameter is present, then it will call API version 7, otherwise it will call API version 8. Very simple. Get info, if you pass parameter request parameter key version and value 7, then definitely it will call to API version 7. If you pass 8, it will give 8. If you are not passing, then it is definitely it is calling by default this one. So what you have to do now? What you have to do? Suppose now this is 6, it is calling 6, but you wanted to call this one also. Now which one will be called? 6. Why? Because which one priority it is giving? It is giving the priority to accept header. It is giving the priority to accept header if you are giving both, because the URL is same, no? This one is the URL only. See, this one is URL only. So here it will take accept header, this one, accept header plain text app 6. So 6th will be calling, but this is also the URL. In that case, again it is calling to API version 6 only, because it is giving the priority to accept header versioning. If both are specified, request param versioning and accept header versioning both are specified, then it is giving the priority to accept header. So if you remove accept header, it will call to request param 7 and 8. If you give 8, then definitely it will be calling 8. You can see this is 8. If version inside request parameter, if your version you are passing 8, then it is calling to 8. Okay, and if you are passing again here the versioning, then which one will be calling? It is giving the priority to request accept header versioning. Yeah, it is giving the priority to accept header versioning. Okay, so this is called versioning endpoint, versioning API endpoint. Okay, fine. Next one is cross origin resource sharing. What is cross origin? See, currently what is happening, we are calling these endpoints into single machine only, where application is deployed, because the server is running in the same machine only. In this machine only the service is running, the server is running in the same machine. We no need to give the cross origin in that case. But this application, this service is deployed in some other server, and we are accessing that service in this system. In that case, we need to enable cross origin. If the client of different origins trying to access, if the client of different origins are trying to access the REST endpoint of application, cross origins error will be thrown simply. There are 3 ways to apply cross origin. Cross configuration in a REST controller method. In the REST controller method, you can apply cross origin, which is how. And another one, cross configuration on REST controller itself. You can apply on a REST controller. And cross configuration globally, common to the entire application. So first one is cross configuration on REST controller and controller method. So just you have to apply @ cross origin annotation, where suppose these are the endpoints. No, these are the endpoints. You can see here. Currently we have just commented this one, so you have to apply that here, cross origin. If you apply this cross origin, and inside origins you have to apply, you have to give the client URLs. What can be the client URL? That client only can access these endpoints. You can specify here. Star means any, or allow header, or you can inside these client you want to allow the header also. So whatever the header value, key value should be there, that also you can specify here. So in that case, what will happen? It will increase your security. No one can call from outside world. Only that client can call whose origins host you will specify here, and header value also you will specify here. Those only will can call these endpoints, or can call only these services. Okay, so that this is the way to apply cross origin on class level. If you apply this cross origin on class level, then by default for all these services, or endpoint, this cross origin will be applied if you applied on class level. But if you wanted to apply if you wanted to apply on a specific endpoint, you can apply. In that case, this URL only will be applied for this cross origin. Remaining will not be accessed. This only will be able to access. So if you want to go for a different, you can go, or if you wanted to go for all, here you can go. But suppose now this cross origin will be applied only on these endpoints, or only on these services, but this cross origin will not be applied on this directory contact controller. In that case, you again have to apply here in this way, then only it will be applied. You have to give this here. In that case, it will be applied. In that case, if you want to apply for whole or entire application, you have to go with global origin. So global, how will you apply? You can just simply implement web MVC configuration and add cross origin mapping. You can give, that's it. Inside your web MVC configurer, you have to just override add CORS mapping, CORS registry, where you will apply add mapping, allow method get post, for which method you want to apply, you can apply. That's it. Here are some of the attribute of cross origin, like origin, list of allowed origin to be accessed, the method, list of the supported HTTP methods is also there, which methods can be applied either for get or post. Here if you wanted to apply, so here if you see, if you wanted to apply this cross origin on request method delete, it will be applied only for delete. Or if you wanted to apply for more than one, then how can you do for delete? Or if you wanted to apply for delete, get, post, like that, you can apply. That is however you wanted to do. Okay, next one is allow header, list of request header which can be used during the request, that is allowed request header. Okay, you can add exposed header, list of the response header that can be applied, browser can allow the client to access. Okay, allow credential, determine whether the browser can include cookies that associated with the, that is only, so this one you have to use, that is called cross origin. That's it. Okay, so this is only for this session, and in the next session we will see Swagger. What is Swagger? So I hope you like this session. Please subscribe my channel, and we will see you in the next session. Till that, bye bye, and thanks for watching.